Good morning, Zach, and good morning to everyone out
Good
there.
morning.
We wanted to give a little update on our firm, how we're working during this coronavirus crisis and pandemic. But before we get started, obviously, I want to thank on behalf of our firm, I want to thank all the frontline medical workers, all law enforcement, fire department, sanitation workers, everybody who's risking their lives and their safety for all of us. We're very grateful for that. And so we wanted to spend a little time talking about Fishwick Associates today, how we're operating today. And the person who's going to ask me some questions is Zach Van Patten. Zach likes to stay off the grid. He's our firm investigator. When I was U.S. attorney, Zach and I worked very closely together, and we strong-armed him to join our firm about a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years. And so Zach's going to ask me some questions. Zach's got a background. He's a former Marine, a law enforcement background. So he's going to probably be a tough interrogator today, but I'm going to do my best to hold up under the circumstances. Go ahead, Zach.
I'll say thank you, John. I appreciate it. So I appreciate the introduction. Like I said, I just have a couple questions for you. I guess the first one would be are we even open?
We are. And this is our 6th week of kind of working under this coronavirus situation. We got well organized quickly through Zoom and other video. We've been working basically at home for 6 weeks. There are 10 of us in our firm, and we're all working at home. Occasionally, someone goes down to the office if something's got to be signed. We usually have one person physically at the office every day. And so we are open. And I'm very proud of the work that we've all done under these very difficult circumstances, but we're open, and we quickly adjusted. And have done a number of things. We filed a couple of lawsuits, electronically. We've had a couple of court hearings, but the court system are basically shut down as far as going into a courthouse. But we've managed to move forward.
Excellent. Well, how exactly can you expand on how are we actually operating and doing business and meeting with clients and that sort of thing?
So some of our clients have these things, WebEx and Zoom, and so we'll do Zoom calls with them to talk about their case and give feedback. Some we just do old-fashioned phone calls where we ask them about their case, and they tell us and they ask us, what can we do for them? And so we don't have any physical meetings, but I never even heard of Zoom before this whole thing started, and now it's a regular part of our lives. Our firm, we all start our day off at 9 o'clock in the morning. All of us are on a Zoom call for about 20, 30 minutes, and we just talk about what we're working on. And so we've gotten used to it. And I think the folks that we're working for have gotten used to it. And it's the new normal, but we're able to meet with our clients virtually or by phone, able to have communications and figure out how to move cases forward.
Excellent. Speaking of the morning Zoom calls and finding out, what you're going to do for the day, what's happening with the cases in the firm?
Well, we had a couple of trial dates that have been postponed since this all started. I think it's going to be a while till our courthouses really open up, and there are going to be jury trials and bench trials and hearings in a courthouse. I think that's a ways off. But we have been able we filed one case in state court electronically. The one thing we found out is if we have to serve papers on somebody, they're likely home, so we know where they are.
Yes.
And so that's probably one of the few things that have been that has helped us in our practice. But we've filed discovery, and in fact, there's a thing called virtual mediations, which we've been a part of now on a couple of bases since this pandemic started. And that's where people use these Zoom, WebEx, those sorts of things to try to resolve cases. And I think that's going to be a real growing area of the law, that people are going to look for practical ways to find solutions to their cases.
Excellent. That brings up a good point. You spoke of the new norm and that sort of thing. Where do you see the future of legal business heading? I mean, is it going to stay in this direction?
I think a lot of the things, even if we get back to going into our offices and going into courthouses, I think the virtual meetings are going to be a big part of our future. I think there's going to be less travel, and I think something that I've been practicing a long time. I've always insisted on doing depositions in person with the person that we're asking questions of, or if our client's being asked questions. I think people are going to be less likely to travel in the foreseeable future. And so they're going to be depositions where lawyers and the person who's being asked the questions are in different places. And that's just going to be part of it. I think they're going to be more hearings in court where people stay in their offices and a judge is on a video conference or a phone call. So I think a lot of these things that we have picked up now are going to stay with us. Now, hopefully not as full bore as we are now where everything is virtual. But I think a lot of this that is with us now is going to stay with us, and we're going to be more, people are going to stay more in their universes, and we're going to have to figure out new ways of doing business.
So just expanding on that, then once everything goes back to the old normal of the way we used to conduct business, will you still offer clients the ability to meet virtually if they would so choose?
Yeah, we're going to want everybody to be comfortable, just like we want everybody in our workplace to be comfortable. We want anybody who comes to visit with us to be comfortable. We had a client who needed to sign a document that needed to be notarized. And so we just worked it out so that it didn't have to be notarized. We delivered it to her apartment. We socially distanced, and we got her to sign that document. And so
Excellent.
We're going to be very accommodating. We've had to make a lot of phone calls to figure out, particularly with our courthouses, when are they open? How do you get a document to them? And we've been the same way with our clients. We're going to be very accommodating. We don't want anybody to be afraid or concerned. If they want to meet virtually, they can. Hopefully we're going to be able to meet here in person, in June and July, and some of this will be behind us, but we always want to put safety first.
Nice. It's good. It's pretty forward thinking. I think, this little Q&A session we've had here today has been very informative, for potential clients and our current clients. That's all I have for you today, John. If there's anything you'd like to close, Liz.
Well, Zach, let's talk a little bit about you, because
okay.
You served in the Marines. You worked obviously in the U.S. Attorney's Office. You worked as a police officer in Pulaski and Salem. But how is this, as our firm investigator, you do a lot of work for us with interviewing witnesses and investigating cases. How has your job changed in this coronavirus pandemic?
Absolutely. Well, it's changed it's a double-edged sword, to be honest with you. Like you said, with the pandemic, I have a better chance of getting people at home. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see them in person. Personally, I like to do all my interviews in person if possible, but I know that's not always the case, so a phone call can suffice. Everybody I've called since the pandemic, I've been able to make contact with or get a call back. So in that aspect, it's been good, but still, I'm old school, old fashioned. I like to do face-to-face. I like the person to see me. You establish a better rapport that way, face-to-face, as opposed to over the phone.
All right. That's interesting. That's what I would expect. Well, thank you, Zach, for asking me these questions. We're going to make this a regular part of our new YouTube channel and as a part of letting people know what's happening in our firm. Thank you for asking me the questions today, and I've enjoyed this opportunity.
Outstanding. Thank you, John.
Thank you.